Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is July 19th, and right now we're looking at the visible satellite imagery as of yesterday morning. You can see that marine layer in towards the Willamette Valley, Western Washington, Puget Sound, Vancouver Island, some smoke around there. I believe that is a Shetland fire across British Columbia. You can see fires across Washington, Oregon as well. And as we scroll through the day yesterday, you notice that marine layer burn all the way back towards the coastal areas. And you can see a little bit of cumulus trying to build up across the Cascades. They're always fun to watch that stuff on the GOES 18. But look, as we went towards the sunset time period last night, and you can see that fire activity across Oregon and across British Columbia. Impressive hot spot there. And as we scroll through this morning here, you can see that it is still producing smoke there across British Columbia, Washington, Oregon. And you can see the marine there creeping back in towards the Puget Sound here as well. It will be burning back, of course, as we go through the day today. But you can see that is the Shetland Creek fire there across British Columbia. So heads up for that, is that time of the year. And you can see it is producing quite a bit of smoke. I mean, not a lot of people live downwind, but of course there are some towns downwind of that activity. Taking a look at what happened the last few days, and I'm bringing this up one more time here as far as monsoon moisture is concerned, because we have perhaps a little bit of a repeat performance coming up here. A little bit of monsoon moisture maybe trying to ride back up as we go through this weekend. So if we look back towards July 12th, you can clearly see the monsoon moisture moving back across California into southern Oregon. We're now scrolling into July 13th. You can clearly see it in place. There's no doubt about it. This is 100% monsoon moisture. It is in place here across California and Oregon. As we go on into the 15th, you can clearly see that air mass still existing across California up into Oregon. And then you can see the upper level low merging with that and shunting that monsoon moisture north across the region. So anybody who tells you that was not monsoon moisture is not being honest or does not understand this process. So that is what happened there. And now as we take a look coming up here, I'll go over this one more time. Eureka, California, I clearly talked about the healthy plume of mid-level monsoonal moisture here back on July 14th. It came up and became into place here. So just kind of trying to quell this weather drama that is going on Twitter, that this was not monsoon moisture. It clearly was. Now look at July 19th, Eureka, California, talking about another monsoonal push here as we go on in through this weekend. Maybe not as impressive here, but it could bring some convection to some portions of the Pacific Northwest. So day one, thunderstorm outlook here, at least the dry thunderstorm outlook does include Boise. If we go to day two, you can see it's starting to creep back up across Northern California into southern Oregon there. So could we do a repeat performance of this for some areas? We'll see how that goes. We're going to take a look at that in the weather models as we go through this morning. Taking a look here at forecast high temperatures. As we go through Monday, we're going to remain very warm east of the Cascades. And on Sunday, we're just going to be absolutely broiling. I mean, look at Lewiston, 112 degrees. Moses Lake, 109. Omak, 108. You're talking about 108 for Ritzville and 106 for Spokane. Another very hot day for Monday. And then the cool down comes. It's going to be just incredible. A lot of areas are going to drop off by 20 degrees by the time we get towards Wednesday or Thursday coming up. I'll show you more on that here in a moment. But in the meantime, hot, dry, unstable. Saturday through Sunday, high fire danger here. This is Pendleton National Weather Service updated this morning. Low relative humidities and any kind of gusty winds, of course, are going to make some pretty extreme and erratic fire danger present. Looking at Seattle, 15 straight days, 80 plus here. That is tied the new all-time record high for consecutive 80-degree plus days. We're probably going to break that today and add on to it over the next couple of days. We're not going to get record highs here, such as 1994. The first 100-degree day ever recorded at SeaTac was July 20th, 1994. I can actually remember that day. I lived on Kent East Hill at the time. Now, if you want a nice, affordable home weather station, builds its own forecast for you. It can tell you when it starts raining. It tells you when lightning strikes are nearby. It graphs all this stuff for us. It stores it in the cloud. And I checked on a Eugene station here, and I clicked on it, and you can see it goes through all these lightning strikes as that convection was moving across on July 16th. Very impressive, very fun to watch this when you get this kind of weather around your house. I mean, even tells you when it starts raining. It's got an ultrasonic anemometer. Highly recommended. You take a look at the widget on your smartphone before you step out the door, and you can see the temperature. You don't even have to open your smartphone app. Very attractive unit there as well. Highly recommend it. Click on that link down below to save 10% off on one. So this is, let's go to day one first. You can see it does include some of Boise here, Idaho, Northeast Washington, maybe the Rocky Mountains here. But where it gets interesting here is we go on in towards day two, and you can see this has been brought up again. You can see that little plume of monsoon moisture there moving up across Redding, Medford, and Eugene. This has potential to ride up across some of western Washington as well, and then in eastern Oregon. Again, some lightning could start some fires with this activity, and we're going to be going over that here in the weather models in a moment, and we're going to take a really close look at this tomorrow as well. Now, if we take a look at the North American model, this is hot off the presses. The 12Z run is running as we speak. Let's put it into motion, and you'll clearly see where this moisture is coming from the southwest there, southeast, moving up towards the northwest here, and then you can see this plume of moisture kind of move across the region there and perhaps come up across western Washington as we go on in towards the day Sunday. So convective potential will again be apparent here across some of the Pacific Northwest. Let's take a look what the European says and see if we can see the similarities. Clearly you can see it moving up out of the southeast and back up across the region here as we go through the weekend. Probably not as an impressive plume of moisture as the last round, but it definitely has convective potential nonetheless. Looking at the European model, let's take a look here. We're going to scroll on in towards the weekend coming up. It's not quite as bullish on the lightning activity, but you can see it move across the Oregon Cascades as we go through Saturday afternoon, and then again as we go on in through the day Sunday. Doesn't show much for western Washington, but we do have the potential here, and I'll show you that in the high resolution model actually starting right now. Composite reflectivity, let me update this and make sure again we have the most recent data. It is loading as we speak. So as we scroll through Saturday, you'll clearly see this moisture start to ride up here. Look at this off the Oregon coast, maybe across the Willamette Valley. Again, this has convective potential as we go through the day Sunday. Look at this even up across western Washington. Could we get a thunderstorm or two out of this? Cross your fingers, lightning lovers, and we'll see how this goes. Now, if we take a look at the high resolution rapid refresh, let's see if we can find similarities here. This is the 12Z run. It goes out 48 hours. Saturday afternoon, not showing too much. It shows something here as we go through Saturday evening for some of the south east slopes of the Oregon Cascades. And then as we go on in through Sunday morning, you can see that convection firing up off the coastline there as that moisture makes its way up out of the south and east. Now, taking a look at the European on the left versus the GFS on the right, we're going to concentrate on the cool down coming up here for a little bit. But first, look at this ridge, this impressive ridge all the way up into Canada here. It's going to keep things very warm east of the Cascades as we go through the day Monday. But then you see the next trough approaching. You can see the ridge axis get shunted to the east here, and we're going to kick some onshore flow and really cool down the area here, kick those lofty highs out of eastern Washington and most of eastern Oregon as well. So interesting stuff. Hopefully this isn't going to bring a lot of wind with it though, or it doesn't take much wind at all to really spread some of this fire activity here. So that'll be another threat as this trough blows in. Looking at Seattle, Tacoma, I don't know that we're going to get to 90 today, but definitely going to hit 80. And over the next few days, we're probably going to look at 16, 17, 18. We're probably going to at least have 18 straight days with 80 plus degree temperatures. Probably a little bit high on some of these as well. And if I compare that to the national blend of models, you'll see today Seattle 83, look at 90 for Portland, some low 80s for Vancouver Island and for Southwest BC. But as we go through Saturday, again, very warm. Sunday, quite warm, and especially east of the Cascades. Monday, another very warm day, but the cool down is starting. As you can see, Seattle 79 getting down low mid 80s for some of the Willamette Valley here. And then we go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We might have 2, 3, 4 days here of below 80 degree temperatures for Seattle, for example. Look at the temperatures really drop off by the time we go towards the mid and the end of the week coming up here. I mean, look at this, dropping off by 20 degrees for many areas. The mossbacks are going to love it, although, you don't have as many mossbacks east of the mountains as you do west of the mountains, that's for sure. Now, taking a look here, as we go through the day Sunday, you clearly see the 24-hour temperature change apparent here as we go on in towards Sunday afternoon, west of the Cascades, but still another very warm day Sunday, and one more warm day Monday before the big cool down effects get felt east of the mountains. As you can see, as we head on in towards Tuesday morning, big changes are afoot. Look at this across some of the North Cascades, Lake Chelan, all the way up into British Columbia, Okanagan River Valley there. And some of the higher terrain across northeast Washington, you're definitely going to feel the cool down here as we go through Tuesday and on in through Wednesday. Now, taking a look at the 6 to 10 day, below average signal starts to come there as that ridge axis gets shunted to the east, a little bit of above average precipitation. Take that with a grain of salt. I wouldn't worry too much about that right now. But here we go with the 7-day significant fire potential. And again, just highlighting we do have the potential for some lightning moving up across the area, as well as some critical burn environment. It will be in place. So we're going to be watching that closely again tomorrow. If you missed this, new drought monitor is out. There is some severe drought across the slopes of Washington Cascades, and some moderate across even some of northwest Washington, some portions of Oregon, some extreme drought reintroduced here to portions of western Montana also. So heads up for that. And the yellow is abnormally dry. And this is released also on July 18th. This yellow here shows drought development is possibly likely. Actually, a little bit of drought removal there, likely across northwest Washington, and drought will persist in the areas with the brown here. So interesting stuff. And also one more thing. So this was done, the National Weather Service did new public zones here for Western Oregon, the Portland National Weather Service office back in March. So interesting stuff here. You can see this is what it used to look like. And if we go on in towards where it is now, let me scroll down, see if I can find that. Actually, I think I have on this page. But you can see the public zones. So you can see they're very intricate and detailed now. So you can scroll in and kind of see your individual locations here. And all these are different forecast zones now that will have different forecasts based on, your elevation and exactly the proximity here to the coast and the coastal range and whatnot as well. So that's something we'll be going over here, especially as we get towards more of the winter months where, the elevation can make all the difference between receiving some snowfall versus some of the lower areas which don't get quite as much and things of that nature, and wind speeds when we get windstorms and, rainfall when we get our atmospheric rivers rolling in here as well. We'll be going over some of these different zone areas. So just be aware of that. And you can Google that, National Weather Service Portland, the new zone outlook there. You can kind of check it out and see where your location lies. But yeah, anyway, we could be dealing with some more convection coming up here. Fun, crazy weather here across the Pacific Northwest. Yeah, so we have a few more warm days still to go there for that cool down coming next week, but it is showing up. Confidence is increasing in that cool down coming here. It'll be nice to have. So anyway, hope you guys are enjoying these videos. Click like and subscribe. It's free to click subscribe. And if you want to join the channel, monetarily support it, click that join button down below as well. So anyway, we'll do this all again tomorrow, and I'll talk to you guys then.